Maryland Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV, ready to bring you a little hometown heroes at the Hughesett Speedway. We have had a lot of good racing here this season, especially in the A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprints. We really thank A&J Custom Creations for coming on board this season. Couldn't put on these excellent broadcasts, and well, you know, the whole night and the next two nights the next two races this evening are of course brought to you by none other than Flatline Racing Bodies. If Terry Landis ends up parking it on the podium tonight, he'll tell us all about why you might need some work done at Flatline Racing Bodies, and I don't really want to spoil it. He does a good job, so that'll be enough of that. But we do have a guy we haven't seen out here with us in a little bit. He may have been running some other things, but my teammate Aiden Young, currently P2 on the charts. Now, he was in here pretty early, and why I say that is, you know, I mean, guys like Blake, they got in here a little later. The track wears. Can't look at those lap times right now and judge where drivers are going to finish or even qualify for that matter. Stuff's changed a lot in the half hour the drivers have been allowed to be on the racetrack as practice opens 6:30 Eastern. And we roll right on the hour, maybe a little after. They do some drivers' meetings and stuff. So still a little bit of time to go here. Well, really, actually, now that I glanced down at that clock, really only another minute or so till they could roll it if they'd want to. But Jack hit, I believe. Now, I was listening to a little... I like to listen to some music, actually, to just calm the nerves. No matter how, I get compliments every now and then for this, and I don't think I'm too terrible by any means, but hey, man, I enjoy doing this. I still get the nerves, so I like to listen to music before this thing, and I had the points list up, and I accidentally closed it when I closed Spotify. Now, Blake Chapman, he is the points leader. Okay, yeah, this is why I say I think it's Jack hit. Because Blake's raced an extra race than Jack. Jack's only been here 6 races to Blake's 7. And he's only down, let's say, 66 points about. Or 56 points. So Jack hit with the way he's been finishing this season. He's been in 6 races, 3 wins. Blake's won 2. Terry Landis won the other. Well, let's see. Brian Moore Sr., one of the first drivers out on the racetrack, but not the furthest up the racetrack. We should have known. The 31 of Brandon Templeton. Let's see here. Lap number 1. Purple. 12:79 for the driver of the 31 B-Temp. Brandon Templeton got that dirt track bank machine ripping down low on the bottom. And man, he's got the field. Well, now the gentleman here, he's trying to answer. Comes within a 1/10 of a second, 700ths off of the driver of the 31. What can the 217 of Jack Hit do? The gentleman speeds up a little through sector 2, but was slower in 1 and 2. And now Jack Hit going to be sitting on that middle step of the podium as Blake Chapman comes around second and final time, quicker through sector 1. Slower through sector 2, but does improve. Passes his teammate in the 161. The Desert Demon, Terry Landis, falls to 5th, as Blake Chapman takes the seat in 4th place. Blake still ripping the outside. No, he's going to pull off now. I was going to say qualifying for Blake was over, so he was just out there doing some celebratory laps. Maybe trying to get a feel for the racetrack, what it's going to be like in the heat race, but we have 13 drivers right now. Not sure if Donovan Ross and Joseph Grandy are racing. I say that because 11 drivers have qualified. Those are the 2 that did not go out on the racetrack in qualifying. But either way, we'll run 2 heat races because of the 13 drivers registered in a session. As you see there. Going to go 7 and 6. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Rounding out the field, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross on the inside of row 4. Row 3 to the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. To the inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row number 2 to the outside, your pole winner in the 31 B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. To the inside, the 888 of Steve Maurer. Row number 1 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. And starting on the pole, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. And Donovan Ross did not make the call. So Devo, he can still run the feature if he'd like to. Everybody's going to make the show. So really not that big of a deal. As we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time, this will determine the inside starting rows. For your feature is the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 6 to play in the clay at Use It Speedway. The Desert Demon with a good run on the outside. Brian Moore trying to slot up in line, but Brandon Templeton says, no way, Mr. Wednesday Night. I was quick time for a reason. Move on over. He moves on up to P2, and now he's looking to go to the inside of the 161. as they drive off of four more laps to go. Brandon Templeton searches the bottom of the racetrack, but Terry Landis, man, smooth as silk on the outside or middle of these turns, and just not giving Brandon Templeton a chance to strike. As we take a look, Steve Maurer sandwiched in between Bob DeGood and Jeff Barker. Jeff looking pretty good right now in front of the 888 as well, but not close enough to strike on this 055 as we're down. Coming through 3 and 4. Oh, Brandon Templeton drives in deep. Collects the 888. Terry Landis, he survives, and Brandon Templeton definitely did not do that intentionally. That's why you see him lock the brakes up. And it stinks that the 888 involved, but 161 holds on, wins heat race number 1, followed by Mr. Wednesday Night, the Brewerton Beast, and Bob DeGood. We'll get ready here for heat race number 2. Ooh, is Bob DeGood down there doing some donuts? Aw, oh, dang it. Got to it late. Sorry, Bob. That's on me. Our second and final heat race here for the A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprints. Row number 3 to the outside, the 518 of $100,000, Joseph Grandy. To the inside, Blackjack in the 21, John Tobias. Row number 2 to the outside, the Gentleman Jack hit. And to the inside, Blake Chapman, the salesman. I just realized, I mean, you know, that's the battle right there. These guys battling each other for points. So row number 2, keep an eye on that. And row number 1 for your second and final heat race, starting on the outside, the mare in the 75, Steve Bixler. And starting on the pole in the 69, the young gun, Aiden Young. As the drivers roll through 3 and 4, the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. The 69 drops the hammer, and we're underway at Hewsett Speedway. 6 laps. Sorry about my logo up at the top. We'll see whenever that decides to pop back in, but I had to refresh this thing. But so far, Aiden Young with a good run. He was able to take advantage of a good start, take that high line, and get up in front of the mare. And Steven Bixler's just been looking at the rear end of that 69 as Blake Chapman, he knows he's in a points battle with that 217 of Jack hit, but didn't make it too hard on the gentleman. The gentleman went down there, shut the door, and now he's trying to go to work on the 75. Blake Chapman, can he join the party? Is he close enough to strike here? Well, Jack can't even get in. His invitation was declined. As we go out of 4, 2 laps to go, as the young gun out front. Man, oh man, Steven really going to have to ring this thing in here as we roll through 3 and 4. White flag going to fly, one more trip around. The 69, barring some unforeseen things on the track, is going to bring this one home. This is the battle on the racetrack as we watch the battle for second. Oh, Jack hit, throws a slider. Gets into the 75. Aiden Young wins heat race number 2. Jack hit second. Blake Chapman third. Blackjack fourth. And Steven Bixler coming home 5th. We're going to take a quick break here on the Coast2Coast Racing Network, and we'll be right back with your A main here for your A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprint Cars. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. 30 seconds left here, and well, we're gonna try something because I didn't realize that. I mean, does it need to be up there? No, but I mean, you know, it'd be cool if the logo was working enough there. It's gonna refresh again. It doesn't want to. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what I did there, but that's cool. This Jack hit. Oh my gosh! Look at those lap times. The top three identical. Jack hit, Blake Chapman, Brandon Templeton. My oh my. This is going to be a good one. They all ran a 12.94 in warm-ups. So watch out. They found some speed, and the boys are ready to play. Let's take a look here. Starting lineup. Like I say, not too sure about Devo and Grandy. We'll see, but Donovan Ross rounds out the field, P13. Joseph Grandy starts on the outside of row number 6, and to his inside, the 888 is Steve Maurer. Row number 5 to the outside, B-Temp, the mayor, Stephen Bixler in the 75. To the inside, B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row number 4 to the outside, Blackjack in the 21, John DeBias. To the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row number 3 to the outside, the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman. To the inside, the Brewerton Beast in the 513, Jeff Barker. Row number 2 to the outside in the 217, the gentleman, Jack Head. And lining up on the inside, Mr. Wednesday Night in the 055, Brian Moore Sr. Starting on the outside of row number 1 for your A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprints in the 69 is the young gun, Aiden Young. And starting on the pole in the 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, who not too sure what is going on with the Desert Demon. He may have a penalty that I am unaware of. But the 161 starting at the tail end of the field. Oh boy, not what you want to see for the Desert Demons. So put Brian Moore Sr. on the pole. The green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 25 to play at the Hewsett Speedway. The young gun with a big run on the outside in the 69, trying to take the early lead, but the 055 fighting back hard, but not hard enough as the gentleman hops on board the 69 train. He moves on up to P2. Trouble for the pole sitter there in the 055, Brian Moore Sr. Little hiccup going down the backstretch. He's falling all the way back to 6th, possibly 7th as the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton, ducks to the inside, but the battle's starting to heat up front. Here comes the salesman and the gentleman, ready to see if the young gun still has what it takes. Been a long time since he's played in the clay in one of these midgets. Aiden looking smooth, but Jack just trying to set him up. What can the gentleman do? It's only a matter of time, you gotta think. Just countless experience for this driver of the 217. And Blake Chapman possibly has the best view. You gotta wonder, does he have a bag of popcorn in the race car? There's a good chance he is snacking on some Galen's, watching the action in front. And now he's got some time to get a couple handfuls of popcorn as the caution flag waves. Bob DeGood and Terry Landis possibly. Let's see here. My apologies on the camera. So Bob DeGood and Terry nowhere together, so I would assume this started. You see they're 3 wide. Brandon Templeton on the inside. Bob DeGood, he tries to avoid getting in the right rear and doesn't have time to lift out of the throttle hard into the outside wall. And the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, with absolutely nowhere to go. Let's watch this at full speed here for the 161. Oh, man, you can hear him. He's out of the throttle. Oh, and the Jeter machine ends up on its side. Gonna have to tow that and Well, they know my stance on this. I'm really hoping they extend this. It does not take a long time at all for you guys to run this race. We cannot run the other one until 7:15 anyway. Please, by all means, extend this thing. Keep the cars on the racetrack. I'm hoping they do. I still see the lights. They're off now, I think. So the Desert Demon may be, as they say, SOL. We see this pace truck dive down, and yeah, that's not what the driver of the 161 wants to see, but, well, racing isn't always fair, is it? As the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. We're back underway. 19 laps to play. Aiden Young with a good restart. He chose the high line there. The gentleman trying to see what he can do downstairs in the basement. Now, Aiden Young doing a good job of ripping this middle line. And whoa, does Aiden have a little Shaggy TV on the side of that thing tonight? Yeah, he does. Look at the young gun. I appreciate that, Aiden. As Brian Moore Sr. to the outside of the 31. You saw those guys battling previous to the caution, but B-Temp had to give that spot back. You know, he had completed the pass on Brian Moore Sr. right as the contact happened, caution flag flies, and you got to give it back. So now B-Temp trying to fish his way around, but looky, the 217's cooking downstairs. We got a battle for the lead, but Aiden, man, he has just proven to be too much. He's not letting those guys get that big run off the top shelf like he's getting. He's up there protecting, and you got to think that's exactly what you want to do if you're the 69, as you see the 31 getting to the outside wall. As here comes Terry Landis. He is a lap down, as you see there on the leaderboard. Possibly, hopefully doesn't go 2 laps down there, as you see the spread of cars around the racetrack. The gentleman just stalking the 69 here, and you know, I said earlier, maybe he's just waiting to strike, but Aiden is doing a really, really super job of ripping that outside. And Jack, you can see, I mean, he's got a little more speed than Aiden. This is his race car, and I just don't think he's being patient on purpose. If he had the chance to get around the 69 and flex those muscles, I truly think he'd do it. And Aiden Young just doing a good job of putting up a fight here to the 217. Something that we're used to this man in the 20 trying to do, Blake Chapman. Your current point leader, not sure what we'll see after the drop weeks are in effect. This is not going to help his case here as he's watching the man he's racing with in points drive away from him. And now the 31 of Brandon Templeton, man, he is inching closer and closer. Remember, he was back there battling with Brian Moore Sr. and them a couple laps ago. Now Brian Moore Sr. has since had some trouble off the racetrack, but the 31, he is cooking upstairs as we check back in up front. 6.5 laps to go as we'll have 6 to go coming out of 4. Aiden Young, can he keep it, the power down and hold on? Does it stay green flag? Does he want it to stay green flag? I'd have to think a driver out front you want to keep in your rhythm. But everybody's different. What do I know is, oh, the gentleman, he gets that bigger run off that top shelf. He tries to cover that little extra distance, but Aiden, 4 to go. Man, oh man, now Brandon Templeton, he drives by Blake Chapman on the outside, and the 31 moves his way on up to the podium as Aiden Young increases the gap to half a second with 3 laps to go. Let's throw up here real quick your lap times here for your front 3. See Brandon Templeton, by far your quickest car on the racetrack. As they come around this time, though, Aiden Young, man, he dropped the hammer. He extends. As Jack Hith looks to the inside, the white flag flies. The young gun coming down the backstretch at the Hughes Speedway. first time in a long time here in the Coast2Coast Racing League. And the young gun brings home the checkered flag, followed by Jack Hitt, Brandon Templeton rounding out your podium, the Salesman, and the Brewerton Beast rounding out your top 5. But boy, oh boy, the young gun in the 69 gets it done. Congratulations to Aiden Young. You know, that's gotta feel good, man. It's been a while since he's run this thing, and to go ahead and park it on the podium, I know he's going to be proud of that one. Let's see if we can give these drivers a minute or two here to catch their breath and try to get a word or two with them. The driver of the 31, Brandon Templeton, bringing it home third. We'll talk to him first as we see some of the drivers migrate on up here. But man, see, that was a quick one. That's why I say, in the future, I'll yell at these guys some more. We got to extend that thing and try to, keep those guys on the lead lap if they need that tow time. All of them have just joined the booth down there. We'll give them, another 5 seconds or so, because I always pull them up. You hear them talking, and, well, maybe this will backfire this time. Maybe they'll feel a little comfortable down there and not be ready for it. Let's see. As we pull up the driver of the 31, Brandon Templeton. Brandon, man, I'll tell you, with about 3 or 4 laps to go, I brought up the lap list, or, lap time sheet there, and that thing was a missile. I think, possibly we get a late race caution. We're talking to you a little later in the interview string. What's going through your mind right now?
Just trying to survive. It was really difficult up there running the top. I got up to found the cushion where I was just pretty much full throttle all the way around and getting it up in the dark stuff, and it was sticking and making a little speed off the corners. So that's what I stuck with, I guess. I think I don't know if it was Terry Landis halfway through that race. I know I kind of got a right rear into somebody. It gets tight there off 4 or whatever, where you kind of blend. And I know I drifted up, got a little loose, and I think someone was there. But so apologies for that one.
Yeah, that's just one of those things. You were on the bottom 3 wide. It was Bob DeGood, I think, in the 7, if my memory recalls. But it was, that's as racing deal as it can get. You could tell you even left that lane up top. When you come out of the throttle, you didn't float the whole way up against the wall like you normally you would. You can see there was no malicious intent with that. But, Brandon, not that we've had a lot of cautions in here, but, sometimes we do get them every now and then. And it seems like, I've talked about it with you. You just can't get the luck this year, dude. Not always your fault, but tonight, man, I said it. You had a quick race car, but what would you have done for a caution? You think you could have won this thing?
I don't know if I could have got around them. I might have had a little bit more speed, but getting around them would have been really tough on this track, I think, especially, if they're running together, it's really even tough to throw a slider. So probably didn't have a lot there, but, it's fun to be fast, fun to be out there competing anyway. And, I like the green flag runs anyway. It kind of becomes driver versus track instead of just a battle of a cluster of cars. Sometimes that's fun to try to make time on guys.
Well, Brandon, you're representing Iowa on the podium tonight. Congratulations, my man. Good run after, you really had to work your way up through the field after that tough heat race. But congratulations. Good job. Who you want to thank, brother?
I got to thank Jay with the Dirt Track Bank. Everything they're doing in Malvern there is awesome for dirt track racing and sim racing and everything, supporting it. So hats off for them. Got Your 6 Racing Network, Mission 22, Hammer Down Racing, Joe, Kurt, and Brian. Thanks to them, everything we do throughout the week, helps all of us stay confident, stay connected to what's going on in iRacing, and stay fast. So that's awesome to have that camaraderie. Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Hogan Lawn and Landscape, you for doing the broadcast, and everyone with Coast to Coast. Thanks.
Well, hey, great job, Brandon, and hopefully we got you the rest of the night. As we'll pull up your second place finisher here, the gentleman Jack Hitt. Jack, man, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I thought there, if you go back and look at this broadcast, you were just kind of being patient. I mean, you could see in the early to middle stages there, dude, you were quick. Aiden just had that dominant line. Was it that tricky to pass here tonight, or just what was the deal?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on. I just got my settings switched over.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll try to think of another way to rephrase the question here again. But Jack, basically, man, if you go back and listen to me, I clearly thought you were the quickest race car on the track. I mean, you'd gain Aiden in it basically anywhere you tried, but it just seemed like tonight, man, difficult to pass out there. What was so trouble about it?
Yeah, I think I was quicker. I don't know. Sounds like Brandon might have been a little faster at the end, but I had a few chances to throw something at him, but we're looking at a long-term goal here, trying to stay ahead of Blake. I know he was behind me for a long time, so I just didn't want to do anything to ruin the night.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I know in those closing laps now, are you paying attention to that relative? Are you excited when you see Brandon hop up one more spot there just to see that? Well, we know, okay, I talked about that obviously in the beginning. You're technically not winning the points, but you run one less race. So we know the deal when drop weeks come in. So what was going through your head when you seen him lose that spot?
Oh, I honestly had no idea Brandon got third till I was pulling up to do the podium shot. I just kind of assumed Blake was there still. Yeah, but that's the thing though. I was just trying to stay ahead of Blake.
Well, Jack, you're able to do just that. And, man, I say it all the time. These podiums, they add up to points championships. And as we inch closer, man, it's looking pretty good here for the 217. Still a little bit of the way to go, but I'll be rooting for you, bud. Congratulations on P2 tonight. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, thanks, man. Got to thank you for putting on the broadcast. All the guys coming out, putting on good races with us here. It's always a good time. Aiden hadn't been around for a while, but he jumps in and steals a win from us. So, got to thank everybody behind the scenes making things go around, and of course, got to give my wife. Got to thank my wife for giving me time to do this.
Yeah, man. Don't forget the most important person in the house. Congratulations, Jack. Good run, man. And we going to run anything else tonight, or are you taking the rest of the night off?
Yeah, we're taking the night off. We got to go put kid to bed and eat some dinner.
All righty, man. Behave. Have a good one.
Thanks, sir.
That's your P2 finisher, the gentleman Jack hit. Now we bring up the young gun in the 69, my teammate at Gambler Motorsports. Aiden, I'll tell you what, man, not that I wasn't confident in you tonight, but we both know, man, there was some rust you had to kick off. It's been a long time since you were in one of those midgets, but kid, you wasted no time at all. Hell of a run.
I don't think I've ever held the wheel that tight since I've gone for a championship.
Yeah, what was it like? I mean, I heard Brandon, he said towards the end of the race as he's running the outside, he's almost pedal to the floor the whole way around this. Were you driving it similar, or were we milking the throttle a little bit more?
Yeah, I was milking a little bit. It's just very different. I was just hanging on for dear life.
Well, I mean, as I know you don't always run the mirror, but could you start to hear Jack through that middle stage of the race? Because boy, oh boy, man, he was close. He was peeking under you, trying to look where you weren't. But man, yeah, I know, like I say, you had some rust, but dude, you couldn't see any of it. That thing was smooth tonight. Were you getting nervous?
I was a little nervous. I was just focused on hitting my marks.
Well, Aiden, congratulations, kid. I'm pumped for you. I was really happy to see you get back in here and start running, and well, you waste no time at all parking that 69 Young Gun Creations, and I see Shaggy TV on there, so we always appreciate that on the podium, man, especially that top step. Great job, kid. Who you want to thank?
I just got to thank you for being on the car, and obviously Young Gun Creations for making it look good, and obviously Roger for letting me back in.
Well, hey, man, you going to run these sprint cars here later or next, or are we taking the rest of the night off? What's the plan?
I plan on it, so I'm going to have to knock off some big rust here.
All right, man. I'll be rooting for you. Good luck, kid.
Thank you.
That's the young gun, Aiden Young, in the 69. Parking it on the top step here of Victory Lane. Wasted no time. Taking that checkered flag back to New Hampshire. Excuse me as I almost choke. But we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. We may run that ad twice here, as racing will not resume until 7:45 at the earliest. So, if you were thinking of heating up a snack, now's the time to do that. Don't pop your popcorn. Open up your bag of Galen's Gourmet popcorn that you ordered with code CART, of course. The cinnamon. Oh my gosh, what is the name of it? I'll go check in my cabinet here. We'll bring it back up. We'll be right back here with your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprints. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get
Right when we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. We have about 5, maybe 10 minutes here until we can roll into the feature this evening. But the caramel cinnamon roll is the Galen's Gourmet popcorn I was referring to. It is quite the hit in my household. It's pretty much the only way to put it. Birthday cake's pretty good. Now, as you can tell, I'm obviously I like the sweets, so I talk to you guys about my soda addiction quite frequently. And rolls on over to the popcorn as well. It's pretty good, but one that you maybe you would think it's good if you're like me, okay? But I've given it to people who have come over who have been like, I don't want to try it. I make them try it. Then they end up eating more. The dill pickle popcorn. Very, very, very underrated. And, Blake probably knows them. The people who do it. But I don't even care. I'm willing to say it. I will sell them. I'm a sellout, I will mention Galen's Gourmet popcorn once every 4 sentences if I have to, to get, if they would just be like, Zach, you think that popcorn is pretty cool. I'm just going to send it to you every month so you can just keep eating it. I'll be like, all right, guys. You'll be on the broadcast all the time. Won't stop talking about it. Giving them a small taste of, what it could be like. The 31 here, he's sitting on the inside. The 99 of Gavin Chathamy. Looks like he's pulling off the racetrack too. Not too sure. There's no way we're getting ready to go already. Yes, I apologize here. I'm going to see the background of iRacing come up because I have it full screened and then I do not get to see the overlay like you guys get to see. When it's full screen, as I say. Oh, what's up, Butters? I just saw you rode in over there. How you doing tonight? Jason? Still a little bit of time here, a little bit of time, so let's see here. What kind of scenic views do we even have at this place? They'll give us. I'm assuming it's got the propane tank up behind it. That's got to be a snack stand of some sort. I've never been here. Coors Light, apparently. Heavy sponsor at the Huset Speedway. Always drink responsibly, like they say. Is that a nifty camera? Oh, I don't know who that guy is. These are all iRacing scenic cameras, so we're going to learn together. I've never actually been bored enough to go through this. So, Jason, if you're just chilling, then you get to see the scenic sights too here. That guy, both those guys. The one guy's just got his one arm up. We'll have to, maybe if we get back to this view later, we'll see if he's still holding his arm up. That's dedication. I think you'd get tired after that, but right now, Brian Moore Sr. at the top of the charts, and Brandon Templeton was going to combine them into one. Brandon Templeton, P2 there in that 31. There you see the 05 of Donovan Ross. He didn't make the call. For the grid in the A&J Custom Creations Midget Sprints. Yeah, Jason. Well, dude, I think we all could use a little more experience in that department. There are a couple I don't think that need it that are pretty good, but I wouldn't consider myself in that. Lots of us need more practice on the asphalt side of things. I have to tweak my volumes a little bit here. Sorry if it gets loud at certain spots. I just had it adjusted for the midgets and forgot to tune the bar down as Devo gets into the outside wall. Gavin Chatham skirts on by. That was Bob DeGood. That's Michelle number 7. He's been swapping back and forth on me. Because he was running the Kyle Larson type scheme, I believe, but just the 7 on it there for a little bit. But now Bob got the red shell V-Power. Dino in the 79 running the old black here tonight. He's got quite the repertoire of paints. That's 79. And he does a good job of too. He could be he could keep to the 1% there and buy all his wraps from his teammate over there in Dialing to Work with DJ Sim Wraps, I believe is the sponsor. But Dino goes all around, man. He appreciates the detail other people can do. And I mean, it's he'll shop around, but this one you're probably like, what the heck? It's an all black one. There it is. He's running a plainer one tonight, but he always looks good in that 79. Devo coming to a slow. And on the backstretch is Brandon Templeton. One pulls off, another one pulls out. The 31 gonna go see what the track is like. And well, I've talked so long, those 6 minutes are gone. It is quarter of, so the race will roll here any minute. And, well, I don't mind if they don't roll any minute. I don't care about starting right on the quarter of. But when you want to come up here and, chit-chat a little bit, you can feel free. My mic thing is muted just so that if people come up, they don't hear me blabbering to myself when the broadcast is going. Because sometimes I mute myself to you guys. Talk to myself and say things about my computer problems to vent my stress. But I can always hear in the Discord, so that's another thing. If a driver comes up and says, "Hey, Zach, can you hear me?" It will go over the broadcast. So I don't have the brain power to figure out how to not do that. Is the 31 of Brandon Templeton out on the racetrack? Surprise, surprise. Always the first one out. We're going to watch him here lap number 1. You see the tire tracks up here. That is one neat thing about the virtual world. You can see the other drivers' live imprints if they're up on the cushion. They're near you on the racetrack as Brandon Templeton comes home P1 after lap 1. Let's see what this 161, the Jeter machine, quicker through sector 1, slower through 2. Not going to be enough for the 161 is the 99 of the Dark Knight. Gavin Chatham takes quick time. But we still got 2 big qualifiers to go. The 79 of Dean Reynolds and this man who just went purple, sector 2, and took the pole. The salesman, he's ready to tell us about some of that Galen's popcorn. Quick time, and he's going to improve on the second lap. Blake Chapman gets it done here to use it's a 10.88. The second time around, not too sure why that's still saying 10.92 on your screen there. If I go last time, you can see the 10.88. There we go. Now when I refresh to best time. Is Gavin? No. Okay, yeah. Gavin wasn't still on the racetrack. He was just out there putting around. When I saw his name pop up at the bottom, sorry, that's why I went speechless. I was like, what? He's still qualifying. But the Dark Knight here, going to roll in P2. Blake Chapman going to be in heat race number 1. We should have 2 heats here with 11 drivers. And we do. Let's take a look here. The starting lineup. Row number 3 to the outside. And the 69, the young gun, Aiden Young, to the inside. The 83 of Brandon Dittmer. Row 2 to the outside. The 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman. On the inside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row number 1 for heat race number 1. And your flatline racing bodies, 360 sprint cars. On the outside, the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Morris Sr. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dino, Dean Reynolds. As we'll see here, the logo will probably disappear again unless I get some luck. Oh no, nice. As the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off, you see the green flags high. It's ready to fly. The 79 of Dino set to bring us to the green flag. 6 laps to play in heat race number 1. Dino looking good on the inside in that 79. Found the grip to go to the high side and take the early lead as they were almost 3 wide for P2. B-Temp on the bottom. Blake going through the middle. 2 for 1 in the middle. Blake Chapman wasting no time. Brian Moore Sr. trying to hold off the 31 of Brandon Templeton. Brandon Templeton got that left front all over the berm there, really trying to find some grip, and he's able to no, he's not able to complete. Yes, he is. As the 55 gets into the outside wall, and the 69 as the 69 and the 83, excuse me. Oh, battle on, but B-Temp, he gets loose in front of the 83. That collects 2 race cars. And as the white flag flies, Dean Reynolds looking to hold off Blake Chapman for the second time this week. Brought it home P2 Monday night. Gonna win heat race number 1, followed by Blake Chapman, Brian Moore Sr., and Aiden Young, Brandon Templeton, and Brandon Dittmer rounding out the field. Drivers, yeah, there we go. It took them a little bit to all get across the line. But let's take a look here. Starting grid, heat race number 2. All by himself inside of row 3, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross. Row 2 to the outside, the 99 of the Dark Knight, Gavin Chatham. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 1 for heat race number 2, your second and final heat race here in your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprint cars. Starting on the outside in the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, and starting on the pole, his teammate in that 7 machine, Bob DeGood. As we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time, the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. Heat race number 2 is underway. Oh, Jeff Barker runs up over the right rear of his teammate in the 7, Bob DeGood, and he goes for a wild ride as Bob. Now, one last car behind him, but still he's going to have his hands full here as the Jeter machine in the 161 trying to get a run to the inside. What can Terry Landis do? 6 laps, not a lot of time here as we're down to 3 to go. We're halfway. Terry Landis takes a peek to the inside. Can't get the run off the corner, and now Gavin Chatham. He's trying to rip the outside down, trying to get as much steam as he can, build up into that 99. Terry Landis to the bottom. Fight looseness coming off the corner as the white flag flies. Bob DeGood looking to hold on. Terry Landis gets a little out of shape there as Bob DeGood sets sail into 3 and 4. Checkered flag waves. Bob DeGood wins heat race number 2, followed by Gavin Chatham, Terry Landis, Donovan Ross, and Jeff Parker. As we take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, we'll be right back with your 360 sprint car features. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Brandon Templeton, Brian Morris Sr. and Blake Chapman. We've got a trio up at the top once again. All in that 11.39 range. They may not be identical down to the 1,000th there, but boy, oh boy, close times here. As we'll have to see who's able to bring it home after 25 laps here at the Houston Speedway. Going to be a tough race here. You're going to have to really put your head down and go to work. Not going to be easy. But I know the drivers are up for it. Let's take a look at our feature starting lineup. If I click the correct button to jump down, there we go. All by his lonesome inside of row number 6 in that 83, the Spider Monkey of Brandon Dittmer. Row number 5 to the outside, the Brewerton Beast Jeff Barker. To the inside, the 31 of B-Temp Brandon Templeton. Row 4 to the outside, the 05 of Devo Donovan Ross. To the inside, the 69 of the Young Gun, Aiden Young. Row 3 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon Terry Landis. Lining up on the inside, Mr. Wednesday Night in the 055, Brian Moore Sr. Row number 2 to the outside, the 99 of the Dark Knight, Gavin Chatham. To the inside, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman. Row number 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. Starting on the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dino Dean Reynolds. It is going to be a show here. 25 laps at the Houston Speedway. And this place, you know, you're in that 13, low 13, high 12-second lap range. This thing can be over in a flash, as we saw that occur with the midgets there. It looked like Brandon Dittmer was thinking about trying to pull a wheelie. That front end was bouncing a little bit, but he just didn't follow through with it. He just gives a little tease as the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off Dean Reynolds in that 79. He is itching to drop the hammer as we roll through 3 and 4. The green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Houston Speedway. We're underway. Bob DeGood jumps the cushion a little bit on the outside at 2. That opens the door for Dean to complete the pass. And now Blake Chapman filling the void downstairs. Is Blake making a move for the lead early. Side by side with Dino in the 79. Dean Reynolds not going to give up that easy. He's going to jump to that cushion, try to build up some steam. But unfortunately, Blake Chapman loves that. He's going to stay down there. Dean Blake's down in the cellar. There's a lot of moisture down there still with 22 laps to go. Bob DeGood started this thing in P2, has fallen back to 5th, but he's settled in line as he moves to that middle line. Brian Moore Sr., always confident here on Wednesday nights. The yellow jacket just needs to string a couple good corners together to see if he can hold off the 7 of Bob DeGood. But Bob has really seemed to have found that rhythm in the 7 as that shell machine powers on by the outside. Terry Landis gets out of shape as he has to get on the binders before he gets into the 55. Excuse me there for the quick hiccup. That came out of nowhere. Blake Chapman rolls into 1 and 2. Dean Reynolds on the outside here with his teammate to the inside in the 99, the Dark Knight Gavin Chatham. Gavin trying to find a way around his teammate, but Dino says, Gavin, I'm running these things for points, brother. You better be careful. I'm ripping the outside. I'm looking pretty good. I'm looking fine in the 79. Donovan Ross ripping the outside there. Whoa! He goes over that bump in 1 and 2. You see him about lose the rear end. And, man, too wide in front of him. B-Temp in the 31. Brandon Templeton trying to get himself by a previous feature winner this season in the 161 of Terry Landis. He has won here maybe twice this season. I believe it's only once. Oh, as Brian Moore Sr. jumps the cushion. B-Temp almost gets in the back. The 31's got to jump out of the throttle as Gavin Chatham's starting to lose touch with the 79 of Dino. He's experimenting a little bit, trying to find a different way around, but he's kind of lost. Well, you see, he's about a second off of his teammate there in the 79. And Dino, well, let's see here. Blake's coming off a 4. Dino about a straightaway behind here. Maybe a little less as you see the field rolling by. Here comes Aiden Young running at the tail end. And here comes your leader again, Blake Chapman. So this thing stays green 10 laps. I don't think Blake will catch any lap traffic, but it could get interesting here. You never know. One mistake in front of you, Blake knows all too well, can cost you a win here. You get into a lap car, you got to be safe. As Brandon Templeton, he makes a move, able to get by the 161 of the Desert Demon. Now he rolls the outside. Can he get a run on Mr. Wednesday Night? No, he shuts the door. Brandon then looks to the bottom. Brian goes down there, shuts the door, floats up, going down the backstretch. Brandon says, where do I got to go, brother? Now the 55 of Brian Moore Sr. goes to the outside. E10 back down to the bottom. I think he saw the writing on the wall. He got blocked there upstairs. Now Terry Landis takes advantage of the high side here, and he goes back around the 31. Is, man, oh man, the 31 stuck in a frustrating spot here. Clearly a quick race car, but just can't find a way around. As you see Blake Chapman down to 5 to go, but Dino has cut into this lead the past couple laps. Down to 1.8 seconds, but you got to think the salesman just taking it easy here at the high banks of Huset's. Terry Landis and Brandon Templeton mixing it up still here with 2 to go for your leader, Blake Chapman. Blake driving it into 3 and 4. He's ready to see that white flag fly. That means we've got one more trip around. Checker flag's going to end this thing here. No more cautions. Exactly what Blake wanted. Final time through 3 and 4. And the salesman's going to tell us all about that popcorn as he's going to take the checkered flag. Dino P2 and Gavin Chatham in the 99 rounds out the podium. Oh, Bob to good 4th. Brian Moore Sr. holds on to 5th, but him and Brandon Templeton, maybe a little contact there on that last lap. Let's see what happened. They were mixing it up here earlier in the race. Brandon trying to find a way on by. He throws the slide job in 1 and 2. He's clear, gets the run on the outside. And yeah, Brian threw the slide job back, but that's clear. Brandon was just stuck up in the outside wall, had too much momentum, and that's last lap racing here at the Huset Speedway. Good finish, and congratulations to your winner, Blake Chapman, as we give these guys a minute or two here to catch their breath. No cautions here. I told you, this thing, man, it could go in a flash, and that's exactly what happened. This thing, we couldn't start this race until 7:45. That was advancing to qualifying. It is 8:05. They ran a full event here in 25 minutes. Now, I mean, the lower car count definitely sped it up a little bit, but I mean, that's impressive. I mean, you don't get guys that can run an operation like this really anywhere, and it just shows the skill we have in the Coast to Coast Racing League. But let's go ahead and pull up our 3rd place finisher, the 99, Gavin Chatham. Gavin, it seemed like there for a little bit you were fishing, trying to find a way to get around your teammate there in the 79, but then you just kind of lost touch a little bit. I saw you experimenting with different lines on the inside, and maybe kissing that wall just affected the handling of the race car a little bit. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we I slapped the wall a little bit there. It definitely changed the handling a little bit, so I just kind of backed off and just let it ride. Not really in it for points or anything, so we weren't going to win tonight, unfortunately. Just didn't put ourselves in a good spot. Yeah, no, I had a really good battle with me and Dean there, and I don't know. The Houston's just it wore in different than that's the beautiful thing about dirt track racing. It's different each time, and it didn't. The top never really came in, especially 1 and 2, so you couldn't really sail it around the top there. And Dean was doing a real good job running the middle there, and I was trying to make the bottom work, and it just wasn't getting enough momentum to get around them to clear them. So, all in all, it's a solid run. We'll take it for sure, but just a few driver errors. Just wasn't really on point tonight. But congrats to Blake on the win and Dean for second place. And like I said, be on podium. Can't really complain about that.
Yeah, you touched on it there a little bit, Gavin, but I wanted to ask you because when you came in here and won a couple weeks ago, you did it on the high side. And what was the difference in the racetrack tonight? Because, I mean, you weren't the only one. I mean, Brandon maybe got it to work a little bit with 2 to go. But why? What was the difference? Why couldn't drivers rip that outside tonight?
I don't know. It seemed like it had a little slick patch going in, especially in 1 and 2. It just seems slick up there. There's no bite, which is weird. It usually on fresh track it usually works its way up, but for some reason tonight it just whether the track prep or whatever the track crew did to prep the track tonight, it was a little slicker on the top to start with, and even usually in qualifying we usually see a little bit of the top or middle, and it was bottom. So even to go that late from practice into qualifying and still be on the bottom where QuickTime was kind of surprising to me tonight. So, but yeah, there's like a slick spot, especially in 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is kind of very weird here too, where it's like it almost like I want to say it like kind of D shapes off the corner. At least it feels like it often. You got to drive the car down off the corner. You can't drive it following the cushion off of 2 because you'll just drive yourself right straight in the wall. So it kind of really kills your momentum. But yeah, it was just weird tonight. It just didn't work.
Well, like you said, man, that's the beauties of dirt racing. It never ages the same, really. It's every year of wine they say is different. Every night you come to the racetrack, it's going to be different depending on how the weather was that week. Can't always be your night, and for the race car not handling the best to still come home P3, that's a great job, man. Another FTM teammate on the podium. Got to feel good, Gavin. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Thanks, Shaggy. I just want to thank you. Doing an awesome job with the broadcast. I want to thank Coast2Coast Racing, Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Hometown Heroes every year. Just want to thank all the other sponsors, everybody, admin, everybody involved with Coast2Coast Racing for putting on the shows, allowing us to come out here and put on a race, put on the good races for everybody. So I want to thank Full Throttle Motorsports, FTM, Velocity Race Design, Mike Schick Motorsports Design, Northeast Outlaw Motorsports, Swan Speed Shop, and Super Dirt Car Series. Thanks to all the sponsors for all the support. I want to thank all the fans for coming out watching the races, and just want to thank my fans as well for coming out and watching as well.
Well, congratulations, Gavin. Good luck here in the 410, man. I'll be rooting for you.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
It's Gavin Chatham, your third place finisher. Now we're going to bring up the driver of the 79, Dean Reynolds. Second P2 here this week in a sprint car. Dean, congratulations. I know maybe not what you wanted, and, I'm not going to, this isn't a shot at you, but if we figure out the speed there in that middle portion of the race, now maybe he's taking it a little easy at the end, but you were catching him. I mean, you were really chopping into that lead those last 10 or so laps. Talk to us about the race car.
Well, actually, Blake said that in the waiting room. He goes, I got out to a 2-second lead, and then he goes, I looked down at the relative, and it was 1.5, and he goes, oh, shit, I got to get going here. And, he never really pulled out. And then there was a couple laps I had faster time, and then there was some laps he had. But, we're getting there, Shaggy. We're slowly getting there. I mean, normally I'm the third guy with the Gavin and Blake train here, and, the car felt good. And, I followed Blake and kind of read the track. The track was way different than normal. Usually it's, me, I'll run the wall all the way around, but that top in 1 and 2 never came in. And, I started rolling the middle and it was crumbs there and it stuck. And I'm like, I timed my fastest time doing that. I said, you know what, I'm just going to stay right here. And then, I was in the Discord and I said to Gavin, I go, you know what, I'm abandoning the bottom. I'm holding you up. So go take it. And then I noticed in 3 and 4, he was trying to get me, but he couldn't. So I knew 3 and 4, the top got better. And then I just tried that middle 1 and 2, and it worked. So I was just going to stay there. And then you hope for that one mistake by Blake Chapman, but that never comes, Shaggy. You know, it just never comes.
No, and I mean, obviously you're not rooting for it, but sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't, man. A caution-free race where, well, what's going through your head here? I mean, how bad were we rooting for a caution? I know you said, Blake mentioned it, but were you aware in the race car that you were actually catching him, or were you just so focused?
No, I was, because my spotter was telling me. I didn't realize that you could change your spotter where it gives you lap times every lap. I've been doing this for 3 years. I just learned that. Where the hell have I been?
Well, they only added that, I want to say 6 months ago or so, because I just found out a couple weeks ago too. I feel like
it helps greatly, because when you change lanes, you know what works. But then it also gives you information to tell you what the leader did. And yeah, there was a couple laps where I turned, not a lot, but maybe a couple of hundredths. It's all it was. And maybe there was one lap I was a tenth faster, but it will tell you that. And so yeah, but then of course, then you like, okay, I got to go faster. Then you overdrive, you spin your wheels, and then he pulls out again. So. But, we're learning. I mean, even though these sprints are all out, you also got to have some finesse in the corners and utilize that. And that's where Gavin's been teaching me. Gavin's so good at the finesse. And, he's such a great tutor and, helps me out on these fixed setups so much. And then, Jesus Christ, Patrick Spangler helps me out so much on the open sets. And, we're starting to get some good finishes. Maybe one of these days we'll get a little luck and maybe we can pick one off.
Yeah, man. I mean, you keep running this well. We've seen it happen before. Bad luck can strike that 20 machine, and you're putting yourself in this position every week. I'm going to see you at the top of the podium here soon. But congratulations, Dean. Hell of a run, man. I know P2 feels good, and you had another FTM teammate behind you. So 2 out of 3 tonight. That's pretty good. Congratulations, man. Who you want to thank?
Well, first of all, I'm going to thank something a little weird. I'm going to thank Josh Whiteman. I don't know if you noticed, but this is a 1991 Andy Hillenberg throwback when he ran with the Outlaws back then. He always had a solid black car with gold leaf lettering, and that's what this car is. And Josh Whiteman just got it done for me last night, and I said I'm going to debut it here. So thanks to him for doing this wrap. So it was a lot of fun and glad.
I'm interrupting you real quick, too, and then you can finish because, dude, you just made me look so smart. Dino, when we were in warm-ups, we had a lot of time, okay? And I was like, this guy, I was like, you could hog DJ, Dylan DeWert for everyone out there. He does amazing raps, okay? And he is your teammate. But Dino, you spread the wealth more than anyone. You probably have the most diverse paint arsenal of anyone here. I mean, you really do. You find good artists from everywhere. Where are we plucking all these guys?
Well, you're right. I go to about 5 or 6 different guys, and I do spread the wealth. I like to give them a little bit here and there. Ross Carenta, Chase Kelly, Bowman Designs. Brian Lawson when he was doing it. I would have Brian make raps. DJ, he makes a lot of raps for us, and but he never asked for money. But I know his PayPal, so me and Scotty Riom always slip him a few bucks to say thanks. But there's a lot of good people out there, and they all have good work, and I just I probably got way too much money in my raps and everything, but I guess I get bored, and this is my hobby, and I enjoy having different cars and to give somebody something for people to talk about. And now I'm getting into these throwbacks, and I got Ross Carenta doing a Blaney throwback, one of the old Vivering cars. So he's going to be doing
okay.
So, yep. So we got one of those coming up, and but I enjoy it. It's fun for me, and then I just take turns running different raps, and then believe it or not, I look to see if it's a daytime race or a nighttime race, and then I know whether to bring out a spec map or a chrome car or what, and then we go from there.
That's exactly right. Well, Dino, I appreciate you for filling us in, but you got a lot of other ones there. You were in the middle. I cut you off. Who else you want to thank, bud, before I get you out of here?
Well, I gotta thank the guys for Full Throttle Motorsports, of course, and as I said earlier, Gavin Chatham. He's really been helping me and tutoring me a lot on these fixed setups, and actually even open setups too. We've been doing a lot of races together, and the finish ahead of him, that doesn't happen often, so we'll take this one. So I got to thank them. Got to thank you, Shaggy, for doing the telecast as always. Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring, because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be telling the telecast. Shout out to Anthony Morano. He's been under the weather the last couple of days. He was supposed to do an admin for another league last night, but he couldn't do it. We had to fill in for him. But we noticed he's back on Discord. But Anthony, we're hoping you're feeling well. Got to say hi to Anthony's wife, Sherry. Got to say hi to Isaac Salas's girlfriend, Kelsey. I better thank Megan. Say hi to her as well. And also, we got to thank Scotty Riome's redheaded friend. We got to thank her as well. Scotty's probably laughing right now, but a little inside joke with that. And, that's it. And we're going to move on, get in the 410s, and see if we can talk to you again, my friend. And then, by the way, congratulations to Blake. I just remembered I own 4 bags of Galen's because remember we did that back row challenge, and he took it and he won. And I forgot all about it when I went down to Florida. I was like, God, I got to make good on this. So, but we'll hand it over to him. He'll say Galen's, codename Cart, 15% off.
Dude, this is so funny. I did this already too, Dean. In that warm up, I made a plea to the company. I said, if you're listening and you want to just start sending me popcorn, I said, I'll say it every 4 sentences. I don't care. I'll work it into every broadcast I do. But Dino, man, good luck here in the 410. Go out there and get some practice. I hope I get to talk to you again, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
That's Dino, the driver of the 79, bringing home P2. And first off, we'll give Blake the good news here. Blake, Dino forgot all about that bet when he went down to Florida. He remembered he owes you your popcorn, and it's going to be coming to you. But boy, oh boy, another checkered flag. How we feeling, man? Just rolling the bottom again like nobody else.
Yeah, I felt pretty good, especially on a track where I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to come in. I didn't want to necessarily be on the bottom all the way around to start. I feel like, the top in 3 and 4 was going to be there, be the fast lane around all night, and it really was. At least for me, it was. So, we were still rolling that bottom in 1 and 2, and I got to thank Steve Bixler a little bit. He was in my ear telling me, I was moving around a little bit where Dean was catching me in 1 and 2. He was catching me when I was on the bottom, and so we moved up top, and we had to be careful up there. There was a lot of marbles up there, and it was tough to tell exactly where the wall was. So, we didn't run anything. We didn't run this thing too hard, so we were careful with that. And fortunately, we went caution free, and that's thankfully we were starting up front, not in the back. It would have been a difficult task to come all the way from the back. So, glad we were able to put ourselves in position to win this one tonight.
Yeah, it definitely, I don't know if this is the correct word, but Dino kind of mentioned something similar, man. That middle of the racetrack tonight, dude, it looked like it had marbles all over it. This is one of the first times I think we've come here this season where we haven't seen drivers really try to push that high side, and we've seen the middle kind of be the dominant line to hook up. Well, what do you think was the difference in the track wear here tonight?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm really not sure. We only had 11 cars here tonight. It could be the weather. I know iRacing's done some updating with that. But I was talking to Terry before the race, and he mentioned, there's a whole bunch of marbles in the middle there, and it's pretty risky. You send it in there, you don't know if it's slick or not. So we just pretty much avoided that the whole race. But I've seen that middle line come in, and I didn't think it was gonna come in tonight since we didn't have a whole lot of cars. But going back and looking, it was definitely working for Dean. So it's just something we're gonna have to keep in mind.
Well, Blake, still a couple races to go here, man, but adding another win in the belt here in these 360 sprints, man, you got to be feeling pretty good about the way it's looking. I wish you luck the rest of the way, and probably going to be talking to you here again after the 410s, but you know the deal, man. Before you get out of here, let's hear all about it.
Yeah, first I got to thank the parents for watching. I got to thank all the boys down at KSR, especially Terry for running with me tonight. Salty Dogs for letting me hop on their Discord tonight. And, of course, Steve Bixler for spotting for me there just a little bit towards the end. And, of course, I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Andy and AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Hometown Heroes. Of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. I think you're right. I think Dean owes me quite a bit of popcorn by now. But you can head over to their website, and they have some very delicious popcorn. And don't forget to use code CART, that's CART at checkout, for 15% off of your purchase. And, of course, I got to thank you for putting this on every week, Shaggy.
Now, we had a long warm-up session. We got talking about Galen's popcorn to myself here over the broadcast. Have you actually tried it? Because I'm telling you, Blake, I love it. And I think it's one of the flavors that, people may think is risky, but it's absolutely delicious. What do we think about the dill pickle?
Ooh, I don't know. I've never tried the dill pickle.
Oh my God, you got to try it. It's delicious, Blake.
I'll tell Dean to send some over for sure.
Okay, but, yeah, you got to add that to the 4 bags, because I'm telling you, I've got friends that had that same reaction where it's a little risky. But boy, you try.
But I'm not surprised that it's good. It's because it's coming from Galen's. They got some of the best stuff.
That's true. Well, Blake, I'll get to hear about it all again here in about a half hour or so. I'll kick you out of here. Good luck, man. Go get some warm up in.
Thanks, Shaggy.
All right, and with that, we're going to bring it to a close. There you see the salesman ripping the high side. Here at the Hughes Speedway, really opened up a can on Dino. Dino was able to start reeling him back in towards the end, but Blake had just reeled it out to so big of a lead in the early stages that Dean just couldn't answer back. Needed the help of a caution, but once again, man, 25. Green flag elapse here in the 360s. Flatline Racing Bodies feature. This is, I want to say, the third or fourth time this season that it's gone flag to flag. So when you show up for these 360s, you expect a quick, hard-fought race, and that's exactly what we got. Maybe not up front, but Dino had to hold off his teammate there in the 99. As we take a short break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, we will be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies 410 feature. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Tonight when we talked about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. A skinny field here, only 8 drivers, and what's a polite way to say this? Guys, come on. I know there have been disputes every now and then, but I'm telling you, there is no reason we cannot build Hometown Heroes back to what it was. This thing was a 30 to 40 car show. Man, whenever Roger and the gang started this thing, I was a driver in it, and it was so much fun. And we all need to realize that, we're going to get in feuds here, but at the end of the day, we're adults. We need to push aside some of the problems, all get along, and this is a place where you get to really show who the better man is on the racetrack. You run the same track 3 times in a row, different race cars, so you get a chance to really strut your stuff. But Brian Moore Sr. here, he's the lead car. Let's take a look at what that 55 can do as he rolls through 3 and 4. What's lap number 1 going to look like? The Desert Demon purple through Sector 1, through Sector 2 as well. Terry Landis going to take the pole in that 161 purple Jeter machine. But we'll have to keep an eye out on Gavin Chatham, who lap number 1 comes home P3. Brian Moore Sr. quicker lap number 2. That jumped him up to P2. Let's see what the salesman Blake Chapman does. Purple Sector 1. Purple Sector 2. Give quick time to the salesman. He's going to knock off the Desert Demon. As Blake Chapman, quick time. Gavin Chatham, he comes around. He can't improve. He's going to stay P4, but I'll tell you, Blake Chapman improves. He drops that thing to a 1260. Blake Chapman on the pole. Aiden Young and Brandon Templeton not qualifying here, so not too sure. Maybe only 6 drivers. We'll have to see if they hit the racetrack. Aiden Young probably just wants to possibly start in the back, but I imagine we'll have 1 heat race with 8 drivers. So that would put the 99 of Gavin Chatham on the pole because we invert the top 4 in qualifying. So only 4 drivers inverting here. Dean Reynolds will be that odd man out. the white flag rolls, and we roll into our one and only heat race here in our Flatline Racing Bodies 410s. Row number 4 starting on the outside in the 69. The young gun, Aiden Young, lining up to the inside in the 31. B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row 3 to the outside. The 7 of Bob DeGood to the inside. The 79 of Dean Reynolds. Row 2 to the outside. Your pole winner in the 20. The salesman, Blake Chapman, lining up on the inside. His teammate in the 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 1, starting on the outside of the front row to the outside. The 055 of Brian Moore Sr. And starting on the pole, the 99 of Gavin Chatham. Like I say, your one and only heat race here, so tell you what, this is going to be a pretty quick night. And I think the advertisements have been played enough. I'll probably mute my mic, but we're going to stick around for the warm-ups. Need to run another ad. We'll get you guys some racing as the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 1 underway. Maybe not racing, but we'll get to see the track wearing at different spots. We'll rotate it around here is, once again, I got to tune these down a little bit because the 410s, obviously a little more horsepower there, a little louder when they're in a full pack. But right now, the 99 of Gavin Chatham, man, he is pacing the field. But Brian Moore Sr., not letting the leash go too far. Doesn't want to let that dog bite. And right now, coming to halfway, 3 to go. Looking pretty good for the 99. And 2, 3, 4 spots back. Terry Landis trying to work his way around Blake, who got such a good run off of 2 that now Blake shut the door and he takes a peek on Mr. Wednesday night. Dean Reynolds, best seat in the house here as the white flag flies. There's 1 to go. Gavin Chatham looking good coming down the backstretch for the final time. Rips the lip through 3 and 4. Checkered flag waves as the Dark Knight wins heat race number 1. Blake Chapman, Brian Moore Sr., Terry Landis, Dean Reynolds, Aiden Young. Bob DeGood and Brandon Templeton never made the call. So we'll have to see if Templeton races in the feature or not, but we'll be right back. Or you know what? No, I just said we weren't going to do that. We're not going to go anywhere. Let's see here. We'll see. Of course, I have to be on a driver to use this camera because I've never made it scenic. So, yeah, hey, you know, you absolutely probably love when I do this behind-the-scenes stuff. Let's see if that'll save it. And hopefully what that means is that I don't need to be selected on a car to use this camera, basically, is all that checkbox means. Whereas if you would click a quote-unquote TV camera, you know, they want to follow a race car around the track, so those cannot be accessed unless you're on a vehicle, and, well, it counted this as one. Because I always take the pit road cameras and move them to where I would like. Hence the starter cameras that I have at different racetracks. I basically just take the pit road camera and move it. Let's go on board here with Blake Chapman for a lap. Here we go. Just been trying to give you a couple views from a couple different drivers. As it doesn't look like B-Temp, Brandon Templeton, is going to be with us here in the feature this evening. Probably only going to be 7 race cars. Bob DeGood pulling that 7 machine back out. Only 20 seconds to go, though, in warm-up, so... Ooh. Gassed it up a little too heavy in the shine there. Loses the rear end on entry. And Bob, he's going to need to tuck that wing back a little bit here and tighten it up. Feeling a little loose. It's that 7 of Bob DeGood as practice comes to a close. Checkered flag waves, and Blake Chapman will be set to, or Gavin Chatham, excuse me, will be set to bring us to the green flag. But let's take a look at the starting lineup here before we jump that far ahead. Row number 4 to the outside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. To the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 3 to the outside, the 69 of the young gun, Aiden Young. To the inside, the 79 of Dean Reynolds. Row 2 to the outside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. To the inside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Row number 1 for your flatline racing bodies 410 feature. Starting on the outside, the salesman, Blake Chapman. And starting on the pole, the 99 of Gavin Chatham. Chatham versus Chapman. Oh, so close to people in other countries who don't really speak English, you know, can't tell the t, the p. Though they sound close, these drivers will attack this racetrack very differently. I would assume Blake's going to go down there and hunt that bottom. Meanwhile, Gavin will try and see what's upstairs. And the second it's there, that 99 will stick to that outside. Big fan of ripping the lip, and I expect the 99 of Gavin Chatham to bring home this checkered flag at the end. It's not going to be easy. Blake's going to work for it, but Gavin, he's been good. Can Blake be better as the pace truck pulls off? The green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Hewsett Speedway. We're underway. The 99 gets a good jump. Gavin Chatham here, able to slide upstairs. Now, Blake, I'm a little surprised. I thought he'd go to the bottom, you heard me say, but he's going to follow the tire tracks. That 99 ripped the outside is Gavin Chatham. He's going to test the waters in the basement through 1 and 2. We might see that 99 run a little combo line as we do. Likes the bottom 1 and 2. Upstairs 3 and 4 is Blake Chapman. He's going to search. Said, Gavin, I got to go where you're not, brother. I'm going to put it down low. And he is inching up on the left rear of that 99. We got a battle. Lap number 3 here at the Hewsett Speedway. Gavin Chatham still got it at the line. But Blake Chapman, man, oh man. Almost like I've seen these guys race before. Gavin's going to go upstairs. Blake's going to go to the bottom. And it's really going to be better man wins. They are not going to wreck each other. They're two of the most respectful drivers we have in this league. And you see they're giving each other so much room. Blake not floating up on the 99. And the 99 making sure he doesn't crowd him down on entry. These guys putting on a show here. 18 to go. Gavin not letting him complete the pass just yet. Hanging to the outside, just keeping a fender there. But Blake, if he wants to, he can go up and shut the door. Terry Landis holding on to that third and final podium spot as Dean Reynolds trying to join Gavin once again on the podium. The reverse rolls, though, this time. Dino got P2 in the 360s. Can he find a way around this 161? 15 laps to go. Here comes your leader, Blake Chapman. You see, they're close to lap traffic. That's the 7 of Bob DeGood. Have to see what happens here. Bob's going to have to do his best here to hold his line because the leaders are coming. Oh, Bob DeGood, get down and out of the way. Not too sure if he got loose there, lost it, possibly wrecked, or if he was just trying to yank it down out of the way. But either way, the leaders survive, and the race can go on here. 11 to go, this time by Blake Chapman, holding firm in the basement as the top side's starting to get a little speed. As we click the right camera, there we go. Let's watch Gavin Chatham try to reel Blake in here. You can see Blake, top left part of your screen here as we're going down the straightaways. That is your leader, Gavin Chatham, riding over the bumps, man, really sending it in there. He's got to get that exit speed if he wants to find a way around, but the caution flag waves as the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls out on the racetrack. I believe this is Terry Landis here in the 161. He's racing with the 79 of Dean Reynolds. Oh my gosh. Well, clearly not what I meant to do. My apologies. Meant to slow this thing down. You see it tighten up coming off the corner. He's got the wheels cranked, but he is just going up the racetrack hard into the outside wall. Now, Dean, he's able to get on the binders, but he makes slight contact with a 161, which sends him straight into that outside wall. And wild ride for the Judy Special here tonight. Oh, he stayed on all fours. Could he turn it down into pit road? Well, when you know how to work the brake pedal like that and gas it up, goose it sideways, yeah, you can turn anything into the pits. It was a great job by Terry Landis because that duck was wounded. Not easy to get that thing to follow orders as the lights are off on the Steve King Foundation pace truck. As we head down the backstretch here at the Hughes at Speedway, we'll see it dive off. As we go to the starter stand, the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 8 laps to go at Hughes at Speedway. Can Gavin find a way around? He was starting to reel in the salesman right when the caution flag flew, and now Blake has absolutely opened the can here. 7/10 of a second. Great restart for Blake Chapman. Gavin's going to have to try to hook this thing up if he wants to run down your leader. We're coming to 6 to go. Got it down to about 6/10 here. Gavin Chatham starting to get some speed upstairs. As soon as I say that, goes downstairs through 3 and 4, and Gavin gets oh so close to that outside wall. Blake Chapman just really pulling the leash here. Gavin, it's all he has to hang on to it here, as Blake has opened it up to over a second. Brian Moore Sr. sees Aiden Young behind him. Haven't been back here much tonight. Aiden Young holding on to the top 5. The Desert Demon behind him after that caution. And remember, Dino moved him on up to the podium. He's not able to keep with the Dark Knight here. 2 laps to go. Drivers head down the backstretch through 3 and 4. Blake Chapman sees that white flag wave. 1 more lap to go. He's going to tell you all about that sponsor on the side of the wing. Checkered flag wave. Blake Chapman back-to-back here at the Hughes Speedway. He takes home the checkered flag. Gavin Chatham P2. Dean Reynolds rounds out the podium. Brian Moore Sr. 4th. The Young Gun coming home 5th. Terry Landis 6th. Bob DeGood 7th. As we give these guys a minute or two here to catch our breath, no surprise. I really do say it every Wednesday night after Blake finishes on the podium. I say, I'm sure I'll be talking to you again here soon. And 10 out of 10 times, if he doesn't get wrecked, it happens again. And Blake Chapman, another good run here at the Huset's Speedway. This place is absolutely his sandbox, and he's the boss here until somebody can come in and dethrone him on a regular basis. But let's bring up our third place finisher. Actually, Blake just jumped up in there, so I'm sure Dean's congratulating him. Let's give him that 5 or 10 seconds here. Now, Gavin just got up there, so he'll be talking to Blake, and now's the time we can pull up Dino, man, P3 back-to-back podiums. Talk to us about that race. You know, you were battling with Terry hard and saw him getting the wall right in front of you. I mean, man, it probably took all you had not to get involved with that yourself.
Oh, I turned dead left. I was on brake, turned dead left because I saw him hit. But these things you can't whoa up. And, I apologize to Terry. And he goes, no, that wasn't you. That was me. But, you feel bad hitting people, but there was nothing I could do. I didn't get any damage, though. I was surprised, which was good. And then when I restarted in third, I said, all right, Buckaroo, let's see what we got. Guess what, Shaggy? I'm still the third best driver.
Yeah, that, I didn't say it.
I had nothing.
I didn't say it quite like that. I worded it a little nicer there with a couple laps to go. But, yeah, I was surprised. I mean, there is quite the difference, and I'm sure you know what Gavin's doing, but you never know what the kid up front's doing. When you get in this thing, Dino, do we tune the power down at all? Or do we just try to drive it how it is?
No, I always do in a feature no matter what, but I only detuned it down to 980. It felt good in the it felt good in the warm up and with the heavy fuel load, and we stayed with that. I think Gavin did too, and I felt that was the right way to go, for me at least, because I'm very heavy on the foot. But it was weird because when we had the restart, me and Gavin said, well, the outside's there. And he said he was closing in on Blake using the outside. So we were like excited because that's where I was going to go. And then the bottom came back in. We have no idea. It was just, the bottom was faster after that restart. And, Blake went down there like Blake always does. And, I just watched those two walk away from me, and we both watched Blake walk away. So,
yeah.
Congrats to him, man.
It really was. I mean, you're doing my job there, Dino, but I had said exactly that. I mean, that's probably the last thing your teammate wanted because, dude, he was real and in Blake. I mean, almost, about a car length, maybe half a car length from making the move on the outside. And right after that restart, dude, it's like the track guys came out. I mean, it changed that fast. I just haven't figured this place out yet, and I don't think anyone else has either.
No, it was really weird. I mean, the top felt better this race than the 360s. Me and Gavin were talking, and when we were warming up, we said, well, at least I think there's going to be a top there, but it still wasn't as good as normal. I think the reason why is you got to get more cars on the track, because normally we're around 13, 14 cars, and I think that builds up a cushion. And here, even though there's not a lot of cars, you think the outside would be good because they'll have moisture, but it's not building up tack. I think it's just building up crumbs. And it's usable, but it's not the lane of choice. And God darn it, that's where I like to run. I don't have the patience for the bottom, although I used it quite a bit tonight just to learn. But I'm a flat foot guy, and I'm watching the replay there, and guess what? Dean's up against the wall, and and that's what I like to do. But hey, that's the beauty of dirt racing, Shaggy. You got to read the track, and you got to see what happens, and go from there.
Yeah, it really is. I said that to Gavin, man. It's almost like, how they say wines taste different every year. I mean, you come to the racetrack every Friday night, you're barely ever going to see the same track twice that season. And that's why you see the setup books, how thick they are with some of those guys when you come into places. It's pretty unbelievable. But Dean, you've begun to master these wings. I see you on the podiums now quite frequently. Hell of a job, man. Congrats. Who you want to thank?
Well, I'm not going to thank my crew chief because we didn't have speed in the 410, so we got to go back to work and open up that book. But no, I got to thank all the same guys, FTM, Gavin Chatham, you, Shaggy, Flatline Racing Bodies, and Velocity Race Designs did this wrap. So, we got to keep on thanking my wrap people here. And, I'm going to let the other guys get this. I talked too much the first time, so I'm going to let the guys talk this time. And Galen's codename Cart CART 15% off. Maybe it'll get on my side of my car here eventually.
There we go. Congratulations, Dean. Good run, man. Can't wait to talk to you tomorrow night.
All right, brother.
It's Dino, your third place finisher. Now we're going to bring up the man who finished P2. Gavin, man. You're reeling him in. You're about half a car length away on the outside. And the caution flag flies, man. What's going through your head?
Yeah, I thought we were actually going to be in good shape, and obviously the racetrack changed a little bit, or it just took so long for the momentum to build up on the outside that that caution really killed us, which I thought was going to possibly help us, but either that or Blake just started hitting the bottom better. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But yeah, we were right there and putting pressure on them, and then I think something changed with the racetrack because it's so crazy how it's working, and the caution comes out, and then the racetrack like reworks itself and it changes. But all in all, it's a good run. Obviously we got speed, which is huge. Would have liked obviously to put a little more pressure on the last couple laps with Blake, but you can't be complaining about podium finishes, that's for sure.
No, and I mean, truthfully, I don't know what the exact stats are, but you're one of the only people other than maybe Patrick Spangler that go about 50-50 with this kid. And I know it's not fun to lose half the time, but when you're racing side by side, man, as close as you guys are, how much fun is that? I mean, I touched on it a little bit on the broadcast. You guys, I mean, the speed you have and just the respect you guys have for each other. You guys both, man, give each other so much room. How much fun is it to race with someone like that?
It's a ton of fun. I mean, it's always it's always fun going down there with Blake, and we put on good battles, and it's nice to know once you once you start racing with somebody for a while and racing with a group of guys for a while, you got to get to know what their tendencies are, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. A perfect world, that doesn't always happen that way, but you learn what people can do and drivers can do and not do on and off on the racetrack. And that's what just no understanding what Blake's going to do or understand where he's going to be or where I'm going to be, and it's the key to putting on some really good battles. He's not an overly aggressive person, I don't think so. He's going to be smart with his decisions, so I knew there wasn't going to be any sliders coming in there, so I could run the middle and kind of maybe give him a little less room, but still race clean and not make any contact with him.
Now, Gavin, side question, has nothing to do with tonight at all, but if it slips from my memory, I think it was you who I was going to complain to next time I talk to you. You weren't there last Sunday, were you?
For
the FTM league.
Oh no, I was putting my focus into NARC No Limit that night.
Shame on you.
I know. I got told about it. I was asked where I was at, and I quite frankly said I didn't want to race Fender cars that day. I put a lot of focus in trying to get ready for the NARC No Limit race that night, which actually turned out real well for us. We set quick time and then finished, I think, 8th in the feature. So
what are you racing over there? What's that?
It's a 410 open setup league. Really really great drivers, really great field. We it was a lot of pro guys are in it too, so the field's pretty stacked. It's a pretty tough field, and me and Dina, shout out to him because he did an excellent job as well. He ended up finishing P9 and I was P8, so definitely a good start for the FTM guys over there in the NARC No Limit League. But it's an exciting league. It seems like a good league. It's my first time going around with them, so we'll see if we can do. But yeah, the competition in that league's very 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 stout. So a lot of the really good 410 or sprint car drivers, I should say, are racing that division. So, but yeah, that's what I was focusing on. I still could have made the race, but I decided to not mess with my mind at all, because I can't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't stand the fender cars. Anything with a fender on it, I don't like it. I seem to struggle with them, so I don't want to mess up my momentum or mess up my mojo that night going into the No Limit race.
Well, hey, man, I'm glad you did well in your other race, man. Congratulations and good run tonight, man. 2 podiums. Got to be happy. Before we kick you out of here, dude, you know the drill. Who you want to thank?
I just want to thank you, Shaggy. You do an awesome job of the broadcast. I just want to thank Coast to Coast Flatline Racing Bodies. I know they sponsor Hometown Heroes every year, and just want to thank them and all the other sponsors and all the admin, everybody involved with Coast to Coast Racing, everyone that helps put this show on for us to come out here and race. I want to thank everybody for that. I just want to thank FTM, Full Throttle Motorsports, Mike Schick Motorsports Design, Velocity Race Design, Northeast Outlaw Motorsports, Shadow Motorsports, Swan Speed Shop, and Super Dirt Car Series. So I want to thank all the sponsors, all the help. I just want to thank the fans for coming out and watching these races. I hope we put on a good show for you all, and I just want to thank my fans as well for coming out and watching the races and supporting me.
Man, you put on a good one tonight. Caution robbed us of a really good finish, but either way, congratulations on the P2. Look forward to talking to you again, Gavin. Good luck the rest of the way, brother.
All right, thanks, Shaggy. I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Maybe on Sunday night with FTM's league with the late models.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, looking forward to it. Good luck, Gavin.
Thanks, Shaggy. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, a couple of the drivers in here. There are other Coast to Coast drivers in there as well, so it's pretty neat. Pretty neat. They do it on Sunday night, so it doesn't interfere, or Sunday afternoon, so it doesn't even interfere with all that other stuff. It's really cool how they did that. But welcome back, Blake. You were here about 25 minutes ago, man. Did you miss me?
Oh, I always miss you, Shaggy. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man.
Well, I don't know, a little different, I guess, than the 360 race. Dino, you'd opened that lead up so big that you had mentioned about how you saw he was starting to reel you in. You got back on it. We're coming down to about 6-7 to go right before that caution flag, man. Gavin was rolling that top, and then I don't know what you did on that restart, but all of a sudden, man, you were glued to the bottom, and you're the quickest car on the racetrack. What'd you change?
To be honest, I don't really think I changed anything. I think the track changed, to be honest, because I had my mind set up. When that caution came out, it's like, okay, I got to go up top and rip, because otherwise I thought I was going to lose the race. But we stuck it on the bottom just for that first lap to get our momentum up, and I stuck it down there, and I think I have enough laps on this track. I'm like, there's no way that I can turn a faster lap anywhere else on the track, because I hit it so well. And we just hit the bottom really well in those last couple of laps, and it was fast. I thought Gavin had found something. I don't know if he was running the middle or top or where he was at, but he was reeling us in, and all of a sudden it's like the track changed and the bottom was the place to be, and we were there.
No, yeah, it really was. Like he was reeling in on the outside, nothing extreme, that half a tenth, just slowly reeling you in, man. But as you said, something happened out there under caution. You found more moisture down there. Something really hooked it up. But Blake, man, I basically asked you this before, but dude, this track, every single time we come here, it's different. I love this place.
I know, man. That's why it makes it so frustrating when we only get, we had 6, 7 cars in here tonight for the 410s. So, I talked to Terry, he likes it, and I really like this track. And I think, we put on a good show here. There can be multiple lines that come into play. Just unfortunately, we haven't really had the car counts this season, but we still got another week to change that around. So hopefully next week, the final week, we can get a lot of cars out here.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to it. Hopefully we can. I said that at the beginning, man. I remember back when we started this thing way before I ever broadcasted, when Roger and them kicked this off, dude, we were having 30, 35 cars. Sending 10 drivers home. Those were some of the best racing nights we had. And hopefully we can get that back here soon, Blake. But congratulations, man. Another checkered flag here in the 410s. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I just got to thank the same people. Got to thank my parents for watching. Got to thank the guys, KSR. Like I said, especially Terry for on with me tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and 88 AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Hometown Heroes. I got to thank everyone involved in putting this league on. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there, and definitely going to have to try that dill pickle flavor just for you, Shaggy. And I'll head over there, and I will not forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off with my purchase. And of course, I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on.
Yeah, dill pickle and caramel cinnamon roll. Now, obviously, don't eat them together. Yeah, those. Oh my God,
that's good.
My God, it's so good, dude. My mouth's watering. I really do have a bag in the cabinet. I'm gonna go eat some as soon as we get out of here. So, Blake, time for me to kick you out. Congratulations. Hopefully, I'm talking to you again soon.
Enjoy that popcorn, Shaggy. Appreciate it.
As always. Blake Chapman brings home the checkered flag once again here in the Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes 410s, and he's looking to cement himself the champion here. 1 week to go in the Coast to Coast Racing Network. If you're here, if you've been here this long, well, we thank you. We appreciate you tuning in, and on behalf of everyone at the Coast to Coast Racing League, Roger Craig, all the admins, I'd like to say have a good night and tune in tomorrow for a little bit of Thursday Night Thunder. I'll see you then.